Alright guys, got a brand new Pixie here. This is a 16-year-old reel, and I mean this thing's brand new. It still has the factory tape on the spool. I am going to turn this Pixie into a Pixzilla. I've got a bunch of parts I've got to get done. Upgrading. So we're going to do a gear upgrade to 7.2:1, TDZ line guide, Carbontex drag washers, Boca bearing upgrade, and a worm bearing upgrade. So I'm going to try and do this as slow as possible, but I'm pretty quick at taking these apart. So spool, side plate, set those aside. Got a bunch of parts here. This is the stock handle. We might be upgrading it to a 4-bearing TDZ handle. It just depends on what he wants to do. Ooh, tight. Those are brand new, so the lock hasn't been broken yet. He's got 2 of these reels, and I did another one, so I'm doing this one on video for you guys. This one's brand new mint. Pretty crazy to find a 16-year-old Pixie completely mint stock. The owner just did not like the stock drag. He said it was too light, so I'm upgrading the drag form, make it stronger and then a bit smoother. But this is probably one of the best original finesse BFS reels Daiwa ever came out with. So there you go, pretty much bone stock. Just wipe off a little bit. It doesn't really need to be cleaned since it is brand new. Not really going to break it down. The only part I'm going to take apart is this guy right here. This is the line guide, so this is the stock line guide here. I don't know if you can see it. Stock line guide. Now it's ready to be popped off, which is the hardest, most annoying part. I won't show you guys it because it's just kind of tedious. Not tedious, just kind of. Alright, got it. Got it done, so I gotta pull this guy out. Pop that off. This is the old, that's the old bushing. So I'm going to turn the bushing into a bearing. A lot of factory grease and oil. Won't need this guy anymore. Won't need that guy anymore. Clean up the area a little bit. Alright, let's get some parts out here. So here's the line guide, the worm gear. Just slide the collar right on. Slide the bearing on. Wipe off the excess grease. Where is... So this guy's just going to slide right over. This is the TDZ line guy. Looks better. A little bit better opening. Slide that on. That guy is good. Now I gotta slide the worm gear back in. Put the cap back on. This little washer here. The C-clip. Just kind of a pain to get back on. Got the C-clip back on. Alright, so that's done. I just have to put the pawl guide in. Pawl guide goes right back in. Put the pawl cap back on with the washer. Make sure it moves. Moves good. Drop in the bottom drag. Put the gear back on. And now it's time for the drag stack on a new gear. This is the old drag stack. It's a single like cardboard fiber drag. It's pretty bad for stock. So that's going away. Open up the parts. This is going to be the new gear. Drop the washer back on. Place that guy, pinion gear, the new pinion gear. As you can see, this is the stock drag, and I'm swapping it out to a multi-disc Carbontex drag. So it's got 3 or 4 layers of drag instead of just the single one. And I'm going to do this one dry because he wants the most bite out of it. Geared washer to keep it locked in place. Last one. Drops right in. Alright, so that drag is done. I'm going to put a little oil on the pinion bearing, a little bit underneath here. And then I'm going to put some grease. This is just Daiwa's grease that I've been using for years, and it's really hard to get right now because of shipping and COVID, because it comes from Japan. That looks good. Put the handle shaft collar on. Time to put the pinion gear. The yoke springs. And we are almost done with that. So there's gears, drag, everything's done. Put the cap back on. Let me put some grease on the gear first. Clicks back in. Only thing I put on is the front nose piece. Pretty simple, just slides right in. I'll connect it here in a second. I gotta put these frame screws in to hold it so it doesn't slide on me. Alright, so that's not tight, but it's tight enough to help me out. Put this back in. Feed it through the TDZ line guide. Alright, now we got a half-made reel. Put the little washer over the bearing. Put the drag washers in. Always want to make sure that they go either this way or you want them reversed. You never want them flat. So you can see there's a gap here. You want to always gap them because then it's putting higher pressure on the drag. I'll leave that for now. TDZ line guide, smooth, back and forth. You got the bearing in there, you got the faster gears. Next up I gotta do are the spool bearings. Got little tweezers because these C-clips seem to fly out of the room. And then the special Boca bearing spool pin pliers. Line them up, barely press them. Pops the bearings right off. Slide them off because you have to get this pin out. I don't know if you can see that pin. That pin fits in, keeps the bearing from sliding. Taking shields off. So there are the bearings. We put a drop of oil in them. Put the clip back in. Slide the bearing on the spool. Take the pliers. Barely press on the pin. Bearings on there as well. Put a little oil on the end because I took it out. cleaned it. Put a little grease. Close her back up. Barely a flick and you're spinning really good. Let me put the handle back on, even though it might come back off, but put the handle on. Put the big knob, big handle cap, which I think weighs more than the handle. There is the last little keeper, which I don't think I lined up. No, I gotta make it tighter. You just had to move this so there's a gap to put this screw in so it fits in between. There is the Pixzilla. Went from a Pixie to a Pixzilla in a few minutes. I've done a ton of these. Awesome finesse reel. This thing is going to be amazing right now. Brand new. The Pixzilla. All the parts replaced. Spool bearings. Stock drag. Went from 5/8 to 1 gears to 7/2 to 1 gears. Put on the TDC line guide, and he went from a bushing, the worn bushing, to a bearing. So went from all these parts, upgraded it to an absolute monster. Should be a killer smallmouth finesse Ned tube reel. This thing is just going to be amazing. I've got a few of them. It's a great reel. I even offered to buy this one from them since it's brand new. But there you go. That is the Pixy to a Pixzilla conversion. Hoping maybe to do a handle. I've got these handles right here. It accepts 2 bearings per shaft, so it'd be a 4 bearing handle instead of a 2 bearing. And this is also a lighter handle, so this should be pretty great. But there it is, guys. Smash that thumbs. Post down below what some videos you want to see. Put some oil here. Put some grease on the worm gear, just a little bit. But there you go, Pixie to Pixzilla. Quick conversion. I've done a million of them, so you might have to watch it over again. So, but there you go, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.